one team. One dream. One fan.
30, 20, 10, touchdown Miami! 1, 2, 3,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Fish Tank Live, presented by Van Horn Law Group, Casabella Design Group. Seth Levitt, live from the Casabella Design Group studios. I heard somebody can't hear me, but we are on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. I hope we're joined by Super Duper, but I know I'm joined by the man with the best hands in the live podcast business. He is OJ McDuffie. Juice, you brought in a super guest tonight, and we're going to talk to him in a minute here if he can stick with us on the phone without technical difficulties. As always, we've got our producer, the legendary Savak, in the house, and our host, who's been kind enough to open up his doors here for us, Mike Oliva from Dolphins Talk, with his Syracuse orange juice. We got two different oranges rocking today.
I see. So let me address the elephant in the room. Super Duper's ass.
He's the elephant.
Well, I mean, the fact that he can't, we run into this problem, Seth, doing the fish tank all the time. We run into guys that, aren't 21 anymore. And technology slips out of their fingers, man. This is a guy that did not, let a lot of passes slip through his hands. But, Dupe is are you there, Dupe? You good?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
There we go. All right, yeah. So
okay.
Man, yeah. So I'm excited about this, man. It's so crazy that, our guest is a guy that, I've known for a long time, but never played with Big Seth. But it's like we played opposite each other, man. So it's really cool to have him on tonight. And we'll talk some good Dolphin stuff tonight.
Yeah, excited about it. Dupe, I appreciate. So when OJ McDuffie calls and says, will you go live on our show, how long did it take you to think about it before you said yes?
So last week it was Chad. Now this week no one can hear Seth. I love it.
That's okay. That's okay.
Get everybody else going.
I think our show only works if something's not working. That's what our show is at.
It's got to be Big Seth.
That's part of the charm.
It is. It is. Well, when Dupe is back with us, just let us know, Dupe.
You keep cutting in and out.
All of us or just me? Somebody else asked Dupe if you can hear him.
Can you hear us, Dupe?
No, I keep cutting in and out. Hold on just a minute.
All right. We'll be here, Dupe. When you're ready, we'll be here. So in the meantime, while Mark Super Duper is getting his Chris Perkins internet figured out, I want to ask you guys.
Mute him, Savak, till he comes back.
Yeah,
that's working on his thing.
That could get dangerous. So I know we're competing with a big address on another channel, or I guess every other channel that we're not going to talk about because we don't talk politics on the show. Jim McDuffie informed me right before we went live the first time.
That's right.
But the big news in the National Football League, which certainly bled into some news for the Miami Dolphins, was that the owners' meetings took place in Phoenix, right? So the owners' meetings took place in Phoenix, and all the head coaches were there, all the general managers were there. So it was like a big field trip for Dolphins' new general manager, Jon-Eric Sullivan, and Jeff Hafley. And I'm hearing a lot of positive feedback. Everything we're hearing is that they went in there and they impressed folks. And so I just want to talk to you guys about this. And I guess, Juice, I'll start with you. What type of an impression, how much does it matter what the impression is that Jeff Hafley and Jon-Eric Sullivan make on their peers when they're at the owners' meetings?
Well, I think it's important, whatever they're saying, moving forward right now, Big Seth, because nothing they can do about what's going to happen on the football field, right? So everything they've said so far, ever since the hires, ever since, the combine, ever since things in free agency, everything they're doing, the owners' meetings, they've done it really well, man. So all we can do and go by is the fact that, what they're saying, and, we've heard it before. We've heard it all before. You know what I mean? You've heard that song, right?
I have.
And so it's like we got to make sure that, what they're saying matches what happens in the fall. But right now they're doing everything right. I believe that. And we've got the two guys and Sully and Haff that are I see them taking pictures for the first time, like Sully taking pictures for the first time with the GMs, Haff taking pictures for the first time with all the head coaches or whatever might be going on, man. So what they're saying is definitely, the right things to say, the right things to do. But we got newbies, but so far so good on what they're saying and what they're talking about. But we have to bring that into fruition when it comes to what they do on the football field and
Right.
all the talent that we have. Yeah.
Right. So, and so Mike Olivo, let's ask you, you follow Dolphins news as close as anybody. Has there been any one thing for each guy, any one thing that you heard from Jeff Hafley, any one thing that you heard from Jon-Eric Sullivan that stood out to you at these owners' meetings?
Sullivan, yes. When he spoke about the offensive line, he gave praise to Patrick Paul. He gave praise to Aaron Brewer. He, in a low-key, very subtle, very professional way, kind of called out Jonah Savainea and Austin Jackson and kind of was like, one has to be more consistent. One has to stay healthy. Right. Pretty much there's going to be competition at right guard, which I know we lost our right guard, but those two guys are kind of like, you got to be better. And he didn't heap the praise on them. He heaped on the other two who have been consistent, healthy, and performed at a higher level. So I think what we're seeing is in years past with other people in charge, whether it's the head coach or the general manager, everything's always great. Everyone's great. It's all great. Everything's great. He's not coming in here. He's not playing that game.
He's not pulling smoke, is he?
He's like, these two are great. These other two have to be better. And he's saying that in late March. So that one kind of like, oh, okay. If I was those two, you might want to make sure, I doubt there's going to be a lot of veteran rest days in training camp this year for certain people. And you better be out there practicing your butt off, and you better play well because, again, they didn't draft either one of these guys. They have no ties to either one of these guys, and they will be more than happy to put in someone that they brought in place of one of these guys if the situation warrants it. So for Sullivan, that Hafley, it's tough because we haven't seen him in action yet as a head coach, but he's saying the right things. Nothing, when he spoke about the wide receivers, saying that we have to get some more. I mean, it's kind of obvious, so I don't know if that really stands out. So for him, it's a little different. We're really not going to know more about him till September anyways. But Jon-Eric Sullivan, what he's done with this cap, taking all the big hits this year, I think a lot of fans like. I think how he's got 7 picks in the top 94, I think a lot of fans like. He's got a hit on the picks, but it's a good first step at least. And I think he's saying the right things, and he's done a very good month and a half or so on the job so far. Let's see if that positive momentum can continue.
Yeah, good stuff. Real quick, I want to do a wellness check on Dupe. Can you hear us, Dupe?
He's on mute now. So
I know he's on mute, but I don't know if he can hear us.
Dupe.
Can we unmute him?
I'm muting.
Dupe, can you hear us?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
I heard some of the things that y'all was talking about.
All right.
Dupe, do you pay any attention to what when the Dolphins new coach and general manager, when they're at the owners' meetings, do you pay any attention to that?
Cutting off again.
Oh, shit. So,
hey, Dupe, you got to get rid of that dial-up shit, man. I'm tired of this, man. All this dial-up.
Yeah, it's probably the 1980s computer and shit I got on my phone.
Oh, man.
I can't hear. It's like you're cutting in and out.
Right. Are you in Florida or Louisiana, Duke?
No, I'm in Florida. Matter of fact, I'm right here. I'm sitting here in Margate.
Okay. Well, you guys got. I'm gonna talk to your mayor, see what the hell's going on, because I know some mayors around this. I ran into one of my favorite mayors today. My man AJ Ryan, I ran into today, man, and he's a great mayor over there in Dania, and I think they've got great Wi-Fi going on over there, man. So you guys need to talk to your mayor about your Wi-Fi, bro.
I think where I'm at is too many people on the Wi-Fi. I know it. I'm just waiting on them to. We don't have to pay no taxes no more. I'm gonna be proud of that.
That's why he's listening on the other room there. He's got
the state gonna go broke, but but we don't have to pay taxes no more.
Dude, I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to say don't believe everything you hear. I'll just leave it at that. Don't believe.
And Dupe's in that bracket we've been trying to attack, Big Seth. You know what I mean? We've been trying to get at that Dupe bracket. You know, he still don't let the time, the era that he played in fool you about. You know, I mean, who knows what Super Duper, because he honestly changed his name officially to Super Duper. You know, who knows what tax bracket he might be in? He's trying to, you know, who knows?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to pay property tax no more.
I know that's right. And you shouldn't.
Doesn't matter what bracket.
Absolutely should not, Dupe. You should not. I'm with you on that, man.
But I'm trying to figure out how this state gonna run if nobody pay property tax. It's gonna be hard to run this state without that kind of money.
Dude, let me ask you this question, Dupe. When you bought your property, did you pay taxes for it?
Yeah, you pay taxes on it.
When you bought some Nike shoes, do you keep paying taxes on those Nike shoes?
Well, that's different, man. That ain't no damn property. That
is your property.
Item, man.
That's your property, Duke. I'm just saying, man. Once we buy it, we keep paying. That's why I left Plantation Acres, man, because I was paying $50,000 a year on that shit, man. I had to go, bro.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That's what I say. But I don't know. Taxes is something that, you know, it's like, for instance, if you go in one place, you know, taxes be, you know, like you say, like what you was paying for the game, you go in another place, it'd be $1,500 and stuff like that, you know. But like where I'm at, you know, the taxes is pretty damn high over here. But it is what it is, you know, and nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
You pay for it, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just gotta pay for it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know one way.
So let me ask you a question. Since we are about the Dolphins, now we have no receivers. I mean, what receivers do we have now?
Well, I thought that's how you could pay down some of these taxes, Duke. Can you get in there a little bit? The room is empty right now.
Everybody can answer that question.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I am. I got one play. You got a play?
Yeah, 1.5. Yeah,
1.5 plays. I don't know what a half play means. You get hurt on a play. What the hell is what's a half play?
Going straight to the sideline, get paid like everybody else do.
Oh God, too good. So we did hear Jeff Hafley.
When the last time you talked with? You say you talked with Ralph and Dan and Nat.
Well, Dan wasn't there, but Nat and Ralph were there. Yeah, and then OJ called, and all of a sudden your Domino's game came up.
See, cut off again.
So it's me. I got to stop talking to Duke because every time I do is
right. So I'll tell him what it. So Duke, you know, Ralph was there, Nat was there, Dan was not there, but Nat was telling me you've been talking trash about your Domino's game, bro. So what? I mean. What's up with that, bro? Like, honestly, I can't believe you talking trash when I'm already in your pocket, man.
Yeah, okay. I know we went through this already, but now we got an extra bet on the side. We're gonna see how that goes. But you know what? The thing is that you get me down for about $70, and then I come back and beat you for like 7 in a row. That's kind of good,
right?
But
Well, let me give you guys a little history here real quick, Big Seth. I know that we've got Duke for a second here. Let me give you a little history right here, right? So when we went on the Dolphin cruise, and there's some people that are probably listening to us that, you know, we're on the Dolphin cruise. We decided, you know, I've been playing dominoes against a couple of my buddies from Ohio, another buddy of mine that's, you know, from somewhere in North Carolina. So I played dominoes with them online. And so I introduced this to Duke and Clayton and Terry Kirby on the cruise that we went on a few years ago. And so we've been playing ever since, right? So we've been playing ever since. So Dupe and I, you know, it's friendly betting. We bet $5 a game. We bet $5 a game, right? And the first one to 100, it resets the whole game, $100, right? So if you do the math and carry the one, Big Seth, that means you got to go up plus 20, right? You got to go up plus 20, man. Once you carry the one.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what happened with me and Dupe. So Dupe and I, we're sitting there like playing in the middle of like the 72 team was on the stage, and we love the 72 team, but we've heard most of the stories. We've heard them all. We've heard every single story. And so once we've heard them all, we're like, so we're playing dominoes in the audience, right? And so we bring this back to the States once we go off the cruise ship, and I bust Dupe's ass like I always do in dominoes. right? And I go up $100 on him, which means it's payday time, right? So I couldn't find Duke. I said, Duke, do you have Zelle? Do you have PayPal? Do you have, whatever it is? Do you have it? And he's like, nah, I don't do any of that. He said, I'll give it to you when I see you in person, right? And so I'm like going around like, all right, well, I'll wait till I see you in person. So we both are like, for some reason, I had to go to a diagnostic center, get some blood work done and things like that. Cause at our age, we got to make sure we're on point with our stuff. So I went through 3 different diagnostic centers, and it just happened that the last one I went to, Dupe's ass was there. And so
he's came out down, Dupe.
Yeah, when he came out and got after getting his blood drawn or whatever the hell he was doing, I don't know what he was doing back there. I'm not going to speculate, but whatever he was doing back there, when he came out, I was right there, and he said, "You motherfucker, go ahead, Doc." Once I saw his wife in the waiting room, I knew his ass was in there, and then poop, he popped out that $100 bill. We took a picture, and now here's the thing about it. He's right. I was whooping his ass again. I was up like $70. He made a comeback. You know what I mean? Kind of like my hairline. No, like his hairline. No, not neither one of our hairlines. But he made a comeback. And so then I was up like $70. Then he got it down to even. He went on a little roll. But I think I'm up now though, Dupe, right?
Yeah, you're up $5.
Yeah. And I'm gonna continue to be up, Dupe, because you'll never come back and catch me. And our new bet, Big Seth, is whoever wins this next one owes 2 bills.
Well, you know what? When I can't beat you, all I gotta do is play Terry Kirby. It's easy to beat him.
He's easy money.
He is, but all the time, man. Look at one point in time, I was playing, and then my wife was looking at the phone, and she was saying, "Who you playing?" I'm playing dominoes. So I gave her the phone, and she started beating Terry Kirby.
You let your wife beat Terry? Oh man!
Damn! Everybody in the town.
Yes, it did.
Oh, he had
I couldn't get Terry to play me anymore, Big Seth.
I know. He told me.
He
told me. He said he can't beat you. He said he don't want to play you no more. I said, no way, you quit. He said he quit. Yeah, he don't play you no more.
Too
I
good.
guess he's about to doing the same thing because he hadn't played in 2 days since we've been playing.
Yeah. Well,
too good. So, Juice, there's a question in the chat from our friend Sam Marcoux from Perfectville. And actually, he also said TK was catching passes and strays, apparently, the way you guys are slinging it at him. But the question in the chat, of course, I just misplaced it, is Juice, Duper, Clayton, and Nat all show up into the diagnostic center there at the same time. Who gets to walk in first?
Oh, Mr. Moore, the urgency for the age. Age always more urgent, So you worry about age first. I go in last. Dupe and Clayton, they're always fighting for footballs, so you don't know who's going to get in first. But according to Duper, Danny threw the ball to Clayton more than him anyways, gave more opportunity. So I think Dupe gets an opportunity going first because Clayton got more opportunities on the field. So that's what I think is happening right there, Big Seth.
Dupe, do you co-sign on this?
What was y'all talking about? I heard the last.
Yeah, so Dupe, if we go into a diagnostic center, it's me, you, Nat, and Clayton, who gets to go in first and why?
Well, it would be Nat, me, Clayton, and then you.
Why am I last, Dupe?
Because you're the youngest.
Straight A.
So why are you second then?
Because I'm second to the oldest. Nat is the oldest.
It's all about age.
It's all about age. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's too good. Well, Mark asked a great question.
All about the age.
The Dolphins receiver room. And Jeff Hafley was asked the same thing.
You got to tell me what he's saying.
I'll interpret for you.
So what's interesting is it's not quite Chris Greer saying you guys are more worried about the offensive line than we are, but he basically said, hey, we're going to get there, right? And he brought up the draft, so he made it very clear that there's some receivers we're looking at in the draft. He said that whether it was free agency or they're expecting to get some other guys, but Hafley was kind of like, hey, just hold your water there a little bit. So did you hear that today, Juice? I don't know if you heard. Okay. What are your thoughts when other than
Like,
the
what did he
fact that
say,
he tipped
Juice?
his hand a little bit. Well, yeah, you could tell Dupe what I said.
Yeah, we're talking about the receiver room right now, Dupe, and and what they talked about holding our water on, the receiver room. I think my thought about the receiver room is this. Mark Duper and Mark Clayton weren't first round picks or second round picks or third round picks or fourth round picks. You know what I mean? I think that there's so many. What's that?
So Dupe was.
He was a second round pick.
Second round pick. Dupe was. I'm sorry. Dupe was. But what I'm saying is, but Dupe didn't know shit about football though.
No,
you know what I mean?
He's
He's just a fast ass dude that can run by people. So I don't know what the hell the Dolphins are thinking. I really don't. I don't know what they were thinking about drafting Mark Duper in the second round. That's my philosophy right there. No, I'm just playing Dupe. Just messing with you.
No, it's the truth because
man, you said you told me. Dupe told me he had a redshirt year. Dupe, he said, shoot, I'll let Dupe say it, but, Dupe had a redshirt year in the pros, which is hard to come by anymore,
Yeah, that
sure
did. I didn't know anything about football. Just I never forget that when it's the last cut day, shit, I was the first one in the locker room. Well, you guys, you've seen a little bit of the locker room that we used to be with all the chicken wires and all that. I was the first one in there, and then I kept looking around, and then, little Carl Tasser, his little Weezer butt, he walk around, tap you on the shoulder, and let you know and say, hey, Coach Shula want to see you, So Coach Shula was passing there, and then he kept passing by me, and all of a sudden he looked at me and said, oh, Dupe, you okay? He said, don't worry, you safe. We're going to give you a year. I said, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
That was the happiest day of my life, boy.
Wait a minute, Dupe. So they went duck, goose on the cuts back in the day, man? Like duck, duck. Like,
that's what they used to do. They used to go by your locker. You sit down, get ready to go to the meeting. You got to go to the meeting every time before you go to the practice field. And before the meeting in the morning, Carl Tassi used to walk around with his little notepad and tap you on the shoulder.
Oh man! Well,
bring your playbook.
and they fold your chair up, man. Because back then they had fold up chairs, they had hooks or nails for locker room. But Dupe, here's the question to you though. Everybody's a little worried about our wide receiver room right now. And I'm not as concerned because I know that we can find good talent like you yourself in the second round. And Clayton, I think, was the 8th round guy or whatever it was for Clayton. And I know there's always talent in wide receiver. I think there's more talent now in the league or in college when it comes to wide receivers because everybody's doing these 7-on-7s and things like that. So I'm not as concerned about the wide receiver room considering we have 2 firsts, a second, 4 thirds, where you can always go out there and find some talent because there's a bunch of wide receivers out there that are capable of going out there and making plays. And I don't know if we lost Dupe. He looks frozen like my son did during COVID.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening to what you say.
My son put a still frame of himself during COVID, and he was asleep while the teacher was doing roll call.
That's genius. That's genius.
Yeah.
But look, that's how I look with Dupe. So Dupe. So what do you think about the wide receiver room now that we don't have Waddle, we don't have Tyreek Hill, we got some young guys, and there's really we're considered probably the worst wide receiver room in the league right now.
Yeah, well, first of all, that I want to make a little joke about it. So it's going to take another 4 years before they break our records. You know that.
Yes, sir.
You can't stay there 2 years, 2-3 years, and break the records that we have. No, my biggest concern, I'm like you, Juice. I like what they're doing and everything else at the field, but the most biggest thing what they're gonna have to replace is the offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get the good offensive lineman and let a quarterback and sit back there and read and throw the football, like you say, we can get some talent in the draft, or we can. As a matter of fact, a couple of backups that they didn't do nothing with right now, they look like they're pretty good.
Right.
So I say the offensive line, get that together with the quarterback that they made a commitment already, that we know who's going to be the quarterback. So and then put some guys. Mostly, I think I would go after tight ends.
Oh.
You know,
it's a year too
only
late, in my
because
opinion.
that's the easiest pass in the world in the middle. Throwing the ball, and then the tight end is a bigger target and stuff like that. But
Right.
I think the Dolphins are making a lot of good moves. But like you say, you only can. It's only a good move unless it work out. And come September, we're gonna find out
Right.
exactly what's
Right.
going on with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely will. So since we're talking about wide receivers, Jon-Eric Sullivan was also asked about the decision he made with the guy who was the Dolphins star wide receiver, or at least the only one that was left, in Jalen Waddle.
Juice, what do you say?
He'll tell you in just a minute. So, Mike, what did you think about the transparency that we heard from Jon-Eric Sullivan when he was asked about the decision to trade Jalen Waddle?
Transparency is always good. It lets the fans know. It lets the media know what's going through his mind, why he's making these moves. And I think that trade was just too good to turn down. I mean, you get a first and a third, essentially, for Waddle. And Waddle's a great player. No one's going to say anything bad about him. He's getting close to OJ stats. That's why he had to go. We all know that.
Yes, right. You
That's
know
why
it.
he had to go. But
Yeah,
in
Dupe,
reality,
right, Dupe? They got to go, Dupe. They got to go.
They
yeah,
gotta
they started inching up.
go. They'll be all right.
As I inching up on OJ stats, I got to go. But all joking aside, his salary cap was about to jump to like 33 million next year or something like that, which is a lot of money for Waddle. And I think he wants to keep this salary cap in a healthy spot, not just, next year and on. Obviously not this year because they're taking all the dead money on. But by the time we're going to be good again, which is probably 2028-ish, once again, he didn't draft Waddle. These guys that he's moving on from, he didn't draft, he didn't, sign or anything like that. So he has no ties to them like Chris Greer did, Mike McDaniel, or even the fans have ties to players. He doesn't have that emotional ties to these guys. So move on, get the extra, first round pick, who you have a 5-year, very effective salary cap thing on, no matter who you pick with that pick. And it makes more sense long-term to take that round 1 pick there and move on. So I don't hate the pick. It makes sense what he did, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. And I think Jon-Eric Sullivan, again, he's thinking big picture. He's not thinking short term. If we win however many games this year, I know it'll be rough in those months where we're sitting down every Sunday to watch, but he's thinking 2027, 2028. Let me set us up in a way to win then. And Waddle might not be a part of that at that time. So I get it. And I think him just being honest about it is the best policy.
Yeah. And look, I think if you look at the history of the way the Packers drafted wide receivers, they don't like which is funny to have Juice and Dupe here, but they don't like the quote unquote smaller wide receivers, right? They typically like to find bigger guys. And clearly he doesn't like to pay people who are in their 30s. He doesn't like to pay big money to guys who are in their 30s. And so he said that, look, he's 27 years old. He's going to want a new contract, and kind of felt that we're not going to be good for another couple of years. And they're ready, not that they're tanking, but they understand that they're going to have to take their lumps. And he felt like the best years of Waddle are going to be wasted on a team that's just trying to figure itself out again. And so he was ready to move on. But you don't normally, well, I shouldn't say you don't normally. We haven't heard anybody talk like that here in a decade plus.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's nice.
You're right. Yeah. It is nice. And Duke, Seth was talking about how, we got receivers that are getting up in age. And I know that Mike talked about, the fact that we had, a great opportunity when you get a first and a third for a receiver, when some other, assets, don't garner that type of, that type of stuff back from them. And, I think that we're not going to be very good, like Seth was talking about. We're figuring that we're not going to be very good for a while. And I disagree with Mike a little bit in terms of like 2028. And I think I tried to tell y'all might be a little different than what Mike's talking about. But I think that no matter what, if we can address some of those things in the offensive, in a wide receiver room, we'll be okay. But same time though, when you get assets like we got for Waddle, and we knew that we had to move on from Tyreek, I think that we're going to be, having some of these young guys that are going to be hungry. I think they're making a move, and Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong, for one of the wide receivers from Green Bay.
It's been rumored.
It's been rumored, right? It's been rumored, and that usually helps out a lot. Like same thing that Aaron Rodgers did with a couple of his guys from Green Bay. I think he went after, and that's always that familiarity thing. And I know also when we talk about a guy like Malik Willis, you also have Hafley, who saw Malik Willis perform. But what about some of the offensive weapons that he might have been playing, or that were some of the guys that were doing scout team as well, that he liked along the way too, that were doing things against his defense too. So with that being said, Duke, what do you think about the fact that we're moving on from some of these wide receivers up in age? And, they moved on from me when I was up in age. They moved on from you from when you were up in age. You know what I mean? So how do you feel about that situation where, honestly, and they have no alliance to now? You had a love for with Shula that changed, but these guys that are coming in now as head coach and GM, they don't have any like alliance to any of the guys that are on our roster right now.
Right. Yeah. See, like now it's a different ball game, and the thing is that with the GM, I think he's doing exactly what a GM supposed to do. Supposed to bring his people in there, because the people that's there now really wasn't getting the job done. No matter, you can call it, you can say it was coaching, it was players, whoever it was, but the job wasn't done. So, I mean, personally, I do like what he's doing. With the team, he's putting his people in there. Now, like to say that I don't think it's going to take like 28 for that. I think in the next couple of years, I think the Dolphins they might do a good job this year. Because if you look at New England, that's 2 years. That's a 2-year plan right there. You look at Seattle, that's the same thing. That's a 2-year plan. Why can't we do the same thing? Hopefully, and thinking and pray that the people that he brings in, that they gel together and they accomplish something.
Yeah, I agree. It's the league is like that, man. And we hope, and we've talked about this on the show before, that we all, I think, agree that what Green Bay has done in the past has worked. And if they can bring that same philosophy and that same way of doing things here, Duke, I think it'll work out for us as well. We talked about earlier in the show, before, they had Brett Favre, they brought in Aaron Rodgers before it was too late. They had Aaron Rodgers, and then they bring in, Love before it's too late, and then they bring in Malik Willis before it's too late. And so, but Love, it's a great situation for them there. But we also found out that Malik Willis can play. So I think they do a great job of I think Belichick did it well in New England too, but getting guys in to replace guys and get rid of guys before it's too late to get rid of guys. So I think that's a great philosophy that they're going by right now.
Especially this day and age, because, like you say, that, I mean, like in my career, how many people you see now that stays at a team for like 12 years, 11 years, 14 years? You don't see that anymore.
Doesn't happen.
And so, and I don't think that's going to, basically the only person you're going to actually see there, and now is getting like with the quarterback, not even the quarterback, 2, 3 years, 4 years that they moving along. Yeah. It's that the game's changed, man. I tell you what, games have changed a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And the money is just so big, and the way the contracts are evolving, you almost can't keep guys for too long. You end up in a situation like the Dolphins are in right now. And granted, they fast-tracked their way there with that ridiculous contract that they gave to Tua, but that's what happens, is that you can't have guys stay and develop, or at least not too many of them, because they outgrow what you're able to pay them.
Yeah. I mean, and Duke, yeah. Dude, we're talking. Seth was saying it's amazing. I got to be the interpreter through everything.
Like I'm deaf and shit.
Yeah. I'm the interpreter right here. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right, Big Seth. It's like with the money that's out there right now for these guys, it's hard to keep these guys long term, especially when you've got guys like Seth said with Tua, with such a big bite in the apple of what we're doing here. So, and then it's also like, Duke, you were at the beginning. You were at the beginning of what free agency was, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
you were stuck no matter what, where nowadays guys get through their contracts and the free agency is like the Dolphins owned your rights for basically your whole career, didn't they?
Exactly. When I played, we didn't have free agents. You know what they do? All the best players. We did have free agents, but all the best players they put a hold on you, and which means that you can't negotiate, you can't do nothing with no team. And as a matter of fact, we missed. I know I missed a lawsuit, but they did. I think that's a Reggie White lawsuit that was won, that the players at that time that couldn't move to another team, and they kept you there because they put you on that roster, that protected roster.
Right.
But now it's like, hey, you have one great year, you have 2 great years, and when your contract is up, you can negotiate. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's like that. And it's going to be hard to keep a team like, for instance, like Clayton and I and Dan played together for 10 whole years.
Right.
Marvin Harris, and what's his name? That
Peyton
played
Edgerton
together.
James, and
Yeah, I mean, there was so many years. You're not going to see that no more.
and Reggie
You
Wayne.
ain't going to see that combination no more in the NFL.
Yeah,
Not anytime soon.
What did we get? 2.5 years of Tyreek and Waddle. I mean, it just
right.
You just don't get it. Yeah,
Two Tyreek and one. Yeah.
What do you think about, and so just what you're discussing, and Duper didn't have to deal with this, but you did, Juice. When there is a change for veteran players who have been with a team for a few years, and then there's a change with a new head coach, and now especially with the new head coach and new general manager, I just heard Jeff Hafley talk about how he was excited to get the players in the building, that they haven't had their hands on the players, and that's something they've been looking forward to. And when you're a player for the first time walking into a building, when all of this transition has happened, and for you, Juice, it was a transition from Shula to Jimmy Johnson, what is that like, walking into that building, not really knowing how long, if you're going to be the next guy?
Yeah, and here's the thing about it. So, Duke, we're asking about, like, and like I said, Duke didn't have to go through that change. He had Shula the whole time, but going into the building when you had Shula or whatever head coach you had, these guys had McDaniel, now they're on to Hafley. Going into that building you're like a newbie, Big Seth. You're like a newbie, and you got to show and prove all over again to a bunch of guys. You know what I mean? That don't really know you and have no allegiance, no alliance, no anything with you, and they come in knowing that their cap is a mess. So especially the guys that are making the big money. Duke was making big money. Duke was making a gazillion dollars a year.
A gazillion?
To the Dolphins. He was making a gazillion dollars a year.
That's why he's in that high tax bracket, Juice.
That's why he wants. That's why he likes DeSantis right now. You know what I mean? He wants to make sure that DeSantis gets rid of his property taxes. You know what I mean?
Look, they wasn't paying us nothing back then. I tell you, the salary jumped up so high. The year that I left in 1992, that's when the salary jumped up very high. I mean, it had the free agent going on. I missed the boat.
He couldn't hang on
but
for
I
one
made
more
enough
year,
to do what I got to do.
Right. He tried. Yeah, he tried. He tried one more year, Big Seth. He tried to get in, and we all did, man. And I think the salary cap for us back then, like when Duke was talking about my rookie year, was like $49 million. Now it's over, as Mike Olivo, told us, it's over $300 million now on salary. That's 250 plus if you carry the one, Big Seth, on how the salary cap has changed since we played, and so I mean it's crazy how when you start looking at numbers, X and O's, and then also the free agency, the guys that get is there transition tag anymore, Mike?
There is, but it's not used a lot.
Okay.
Now it's a franchise tag gets used more, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
The franchise tag, which is
that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
That franchise tag is like stupid money, right? That's the average of the top 3 guys.
Top 5.
I think top 5 now.
Yeah.
For franchise. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 5, yeah.
Okay, but I thought transition was somewhere. Okay, so top 5 guys at your position, the wide receivers. I would tell somebody, Duke, would you tell somebody if I'm on the outs, please tag me on a franchise tag on the top 5 money that they're making as a wide receiver, because that money is fully guaranteed, right? So
Right.
and they're making what, 30-40 million dollars a year. Let me go ahead and get that. Let me get that, dude.
The money, dude. And then, you know what? Now, I'm gonna bring this up. I want somebody to guess. My first year when I played with the Dolphins, how much did I make that year?
I'm gonna say 52,000.
You was close. 40,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, damn, I wasn't close. That ain't close, right?
Look, but it was so funny. It was like it was $100,000 signing bonus, and I was a second round draft pick, 52 pick in the draft. Now, if you calculate the 52 pick in the draft now, second round, he'd make more money on the signing bonus I made in my whole damn 11 years of career that I played with the Miami Dolphins. That is something, though, But you can't. Everybody say, well, "How do you feel about that?" I feel great. I mean, I'm at the game, but I mean, I don't want nobody just because I'm at the game, and that doesn't mean that the players should get punished because we're at the game. Now, I think it's great that they're making it, that they're making a lot of money like that. But I tell you that the game has changed so much, especially when it comes down to money. And then especially when it comes down to, like, what I like about it is that once you make the team, they can cut you, and that's it. You still get your whole salary.
Sometimes,
You had a bad game, boy. You had to be the first one in the locker room. We cut you. Yeah, your money gone. That's it. It's all over.
Hey, Duke, I was the first person in line for my check when they were trying to cut my ass, man. I promise you that. You know what I mean? It wasn't direct deposit back then, man. And I think everything is all relative, Duke, like you talk about. We look at guys like Paul Warfield, who made nothing close to what we made.
Right. They made like 20,000. We just started off 20,000.
Right. Right. And then you did that, and then of course you and Clayton and what you made. And I thought I was doing pretty well. And so it's all relative to the time when you play and and what's going on. And you just try to make as many bucks as you can as you go along, bro.
But like you said, that's when that free agent came in, that's when everything kicked in, That's that owners was going after players, and but the only thing I don't like about this, what gets me is that for the love of football, when I played football, I played for the money too, don't get me wrong, but played for the game.
Yeah.
Do you know I played with a broken hand for a whole year? I broke it in preseason, 1985. That's when we went to the Super Bowl, I think. Oh, no, that was 82. Yeah, 1984. I broke my hand. Now, this day and age, you break your hand, they out for the whole year. They out for the whole season. It's like, and it's another thing. I used to hate this. I tell OJ this all the time. I say, you run a fly pattern going down the field, and all of a sudden you see this. They waving. You wait. What the fuck they wave? Excuse my language. What they waving at? Run your butt right back to the huddle. It's third down. We had receivers. That's what I can understand about the coaching staff. Don't get me wrong. I loved Mike Daniel. I thought he was a great guy. His personality and everything. But I could never understand how your receivers on third down, you got backups in there. Don't you think that's a special play?
Preach.
I mean, that's something that you're trying to do, because fourth down, either you're going to punt the ball unless you're going to do what Detroit do. That's why they lose all the time. I got a friend of mine that's a Detroit fan. And I said, you know what? That's why every time he gets in the playoff, that's why he's not going to win. Fourth down, anything on fourth down behind the 50-yard line, you can forget it. And everybody prepare for that again.
Right. Yeah. You're right, Duke. I mean, it's a whole different world, man.
Juice. Well, I was gonna say, ask Duke when did he fall in love with the sport? Because he didn't play that much football, right? But until the Dolphins drafted him, so I wonder when he fell in love with it.
Yo, so dude, Seth wants me to ask you, when did you fall in love with the game? When you fall in love with football, man? Because we know you didn't grow up with the sport, so when did you fall in love with it?
Well, I fell in love with the game when when I was running track in at Northwestern. After my track workout, I used to go to the stadium and watch them practice football because I never played football. You know, I didn't play high school football.
Right.
Um, um, and I went to a scholarship. I was on a scholarship for track for 4 years. And that's amazing that Dan Marino asked me, said, man, he said, how old are you? I said, I'm 67. He said, well, shit, man, how old was you when you came into the league? I said, that's none of your business, but I was 23. So I was an old one because they redshirt me,
Right.
for that
Right.
year. But I fell in love when I used to practice with Joe Ferguson. And I said, man, this game is really easy. I used to run routes. I used to catch over 100 balls a day with Joe Ferguson at Northwestern State University. That's quarterback, for Buffalo.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And I fell in love with that game when it was like, just running all the time, catching the football and this and that. And everybody had a problem catching the ball, but I never had a problem catching the ball.
Right.
It was come first nature. And I told somebody, I said, you know what, man, I think that's what I want to do. I want to play football for the make a living. And they thought I was joking. And I stayed a whole summer working out. And that's when I fell in love with playing football because the art of the game, running routes, getting open, beating is always a challenge against one-on-one.
Right. Dude, so my question to you is this: how'd you get on the radar for football when you weren't playing football? How'd you get noticed? How'd you get recognized being a track guy and got an opportunity to be a second round pick in football?
Well, back in the day, we used to go to Detroit for a combine. And so I went to Detroit for a combine. They didn't have all this, like they have now, TVs and all
Mhm.
that and cracker, and Coach Shula was there. And that's when Orlando McDaniels, Mike Quick, it was all those great wide receivers got drafted in the first round and, high second round. And Shula was looking for a wide receiver there. So I was running the combine. So Mike Quick and nobody ran 40. So I ran my 40. So I ran a 4.23, a 40-yard dash. And the coaches was there. Everybody was looking around. And so Coach Shula was looking around. Coach Shula asked me to run it again. So, most players, all them big names, they wasn't running, they wasn't doing nothing. So I said, nah, no shit. I just came off the track field, but I was happy to do all that because, I was in shape. So I ran the 40 again. I ran a 4.35, and then I ran a 4.29, and I ran about 4.40s. And so Julie liked it that.
Right.
So we was catching footballs. Okay, quarterback wanted to throw the football, but nobody wanted to run the routes. Like they was first round and second round. So I run them. So I ran the route. I'm outrunning everybody. I'm outrunning every quarterback when they drop back and throw the football.
Right.
So I used to reach back and I catch the ball. So Coach Shula asked me, he said, hey, could you do me a favor? I said, what? I said, sure. He said, I want you to catch the ball over your shoulder. And I said, over my shoulder. I said, okay. So quarterback ran down the field. Quarterback threw the football, which they underthrew me again. So I slowed down and I leaned way back and I caught the ball over my shoulder and I came back. And then Coach Shula, when I look back, I seen a smile from here to Georgia on Coach Shula's face. And then he came up and told me, he said, do you want to play football? I said, yes. I said, sure. Why not? And he said, yeah. I said, okay, well, we're gonna try to draft you, but they was gonna draft me in the fourth round or the
Hmm.
fifth round. But they finally, Coach Shula finally realized that because Buffalo against the Dolphins, that's just a riot every year. He realized that I was gonna get drafted by Buffalo because Joe Ferguson had put in the good word, and they was about to pick me in the third round. And Coach Shula took that sucker around after he took Roy Foster and then drafted me in the second round because I didn't know shit, excuse my language again, nothing about football. Nothing at all about football.
Right.
And you talking about, and then just to elaborate a little bit more, I stayed hurt the whole time I was in camp. They used to call me the slowest, fastest man in camp. I used to hate that. Yeah, you know, they made me run. They made me run 3/4 in camp.
Right.
Saying that because they was calling my time, and then it was that bull crap. He was not running that fast.
You can say bullshit here, man. We're grown up in here. It's after 9 o'clock. It's PBS. It's past PBS time.
Okay.
Damn near 10.
Yeah, they because when I ran, it didn't look like I was running. But that was a tragedy. I just knew that if I wouldn't got, and I tell that to anybody, if I didn't get drafted, 52 pick, second round, my black ass wouldn't have been on the football field. They'd have cut me.
Not in Miami. Not in Miami. You might have been somewhere else. You do, but so funny you say that, bro, because I heard the same rumors that I was going to Buffalo if they didn't take me. So I don't know if it's just the way they talk to these wide receivers that end up getting drafted by Miami that, you know, Buffalo was going to take you next. That's why we moved up. But that's what I heard the same thing, man. I heard the same exact thing. Yeah. So I'm glad that you're here instead of there. And you would have had 4 Super Bowl losses in a row as well if you would have gone to Buffalo, and that would have sucked too, bro.
I wouldn't have had a great career. It's too damn cold down there, man. Look, I my hats off to those guys, man. Like, it was fun to go up there because you know you're gonna be in that cold for about 4 hours, and then boom, you're out of there.
Yeah.
But every single game. And I don't understand that Buffalo is building another stadium, and they're building an outdoor stadium. What is it, crazy?
Yeah, well, they don't want to give us an advantage. They're worried about the Dolphins. They're worried about the Dolphins, baby. You know, they don't want they're not worried about us, but they do have that advantage. Hey, Duke, talk about real quick. I know we're gonna go into I tried to tell y'all right after this, but Duke, tell everybody about that crown that Buffalo had on the field. In the middle of the field, they had this big old crown for drainage at this field, Big Seth. And you look over to the other sideline, you can only see guys up to their knees.
Yeah.
You see if you watch it looking across, that crown was crazy, man. Talk about that crown and running routes on that, especially when it's
that is funny. Back in the day, that Buffalo, well, I don't know, I guess it's still that. They had that big long crown, and the thing is, you're right. When you're on the other side, basically, when you spread the field, you can't really see. It's very deep, and it's hard to run routes like that.
Right.
But it's easy. But it's easier for the quarterback to get the ball to you too.
Right. Yeah, it's easy for them, but you had to go out there and work on that timing, man. Because honestly, we all know that you run faster downhill, Big Seth and Savak and Mike. You know, you run coming downhill, you're moving it. And that ball's got to be out and about, man.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So with that being said, Seth, I think we're at the 10 o'clock hour, man. Let's move on to I tried to tell y'all, right?
You're doing a great job driving the show. I'm just kind of
well, since you're blocked out from Duke, like, you know, kind of like both couldn't hear what the hell Chad was saying. You know,
we got to figure out what's going on. We didn't have this problem on Riverside.
No. Oh yeah, Mike. Oh, Mike. Shots fired.
That's all right.
I know that's right. All right.
All right, Duke. I'm done.
You're done. You want to hear this though? You want to hear I tried to tell you? We'll let you listen.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna listen to it because I keep cutting in and out.
It won't hear me.
You won't hear Seth, but
I can't hear nothing.
All right. So you heard me and Mike, correct? You heard Mike and I guess we call it.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, right.
All right. So I'm gonna give you mine real quick, y'all. All right. So I tried to tell y'all that miracles happen. We can go back to the miracle on ice when the United States beat the overly powerful Soviet Union in 1980. I was very young then at that point, but you know, I definitely was not into hockey, but I remember it. And some Dolphins fans that are also UM fans can remember the miracle Hail Mary from Doug Flutie versus the Hurricanes when he's playing for Boston College. I mean, there's also the Immaculate Reception from Franco Harris. For y'all that don't know, I went to Penn State. We are There we go. When he plucked that football just short of the cold turf versus the Raiders and ran it into the end zone against the Raiders in a divisional playoff game to advance to then the AFC Championship game against the undefeated, we know this, Miami Dolphins, who go on the road and continue their dominance following the fake punt by my coach, Larry Seipel, also Duper's coach at one point, I believe. We know that miracle happened right after that. Still a miracle, though, right? There's also the fake spike miracle that my quarterback, Dan Marino, had against the stinking Jets that made me have a 42-inch vertical. I think Dupe already had a 42-inch vertical, but my vertical went up after we made that play happen in the spike game. And, and we can also chat about the miracle in Miami or Miami Miracle where Ryan Tannehill threw it to Kenny Stills laterals it to Dante Parker. Parker laterals it to Speedy Kenyon Drake, who had a block and beat Rob Gronkowski, who definitely, Big Seth, did not have the angle. More recently, we have I'm talking about this because we saw that UConn game that went against Duke and the buzzer beater against the Boozer Boys in the Elite Eight. That's why I want to really talk about miracles can happen. I say miracles happen because who predicted Jacksonville to be so good this past year? It was a miracle. Who predicted Denver to be so good? It was a miracle. Who predicted Seattle to win the Super Bowl? It was a miracle. What I'm trying to tell you is, why not us? We can pull off the unimaginable. Why not? Why not? Why not? I'm a true homer and optimist. We all are, right? That's why we're on this show, right? So I will always believe in miracles because that is what sports bring us. I just gave you examples of what sports can bring us in terms of things that you don't expect to happen, and they happen. Those are all called, for the most part, miracles, because that is what sports are all about. So when it happens this year, remember, I tried to tell y'all that miracles happen. Again, I tried to tell y'all.
Man, a little positivity from Juice today. I like it.
Going on the app, I'm going to bet the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl right now. DraftKings, let's go.
What are the odds for a miracle?
Miracles?
Right. Well, hey, I'll take it. I'm always going to be the optimist.
Juice called it. You all heard it here first.
All right.
Good.
Savak, you got one for us?
No, I do not.
All right, Mike, you got one for us?
I got one for you. And it is draft season, which means it's also mock draft season. And I tried to tell y'all about mock drafts. Mock drafts are fun. Read them. You want to make one of your own, go for it. Read the ones from Mel Kiper, Field Yates, and all the so-called experts. But do not get upset about a mock draft, because if you do get upset about a mock draft, there's something wrong with you in the head. This poor Matt Miller of ESPN on Monday put out a 7-round mock draft. And he made all the picks for Dolphins, all 11 picks, and Dolphins fans, a segment of them, not all, lost their damn minds over what Matt Miller of ESPN put out. Dolphins fans are cursing Matt Miller. They're sending him angry tweets. They're attacking him personally. It got crazy. And I shared Matt Miller's little mock on Twitter and on our website because I found it interesting. He works for ESPN. He's going to be on the set, when we get there later this month for the draft. It was fine. I had one crazy person send me a nasty email like I did the mock draft. He's yelling at me over Matt Miller's picks like I made them. He's calling me stupid. He's calling me names. I mean, this guy was really, really angry at me in this email and somewhat abusive over someone else's mock draft. I'm like, it's 8:15 in the morning. I don't need this. Okay? It's a freaking mock draft. It ain't real. Nobody should be angry over a mock draft ever. It's like that other guy at ESPN, Joe Lunardi. Now, Monday night is going to be the national championships game in men's basketball. And I don't know who's going to win, but whoever wins, you know what the lead story on Tuesday morning will be on ESPN.com? It won't be about the winner. It's going to be Joe Lunardi's field of 68 for the 2027 tournament. Iowa's going to be a 6 seed in the West. St. John's will be a 1 seed in the South. Like, he's guessing. He don't know. He's guessing. Not all sports content is the Watergate investigation and reporting. Right. Some of it's fun. Some of it's lighthearted. That's what mock drafts are. And even the experts will admit they're just guessing for the most part. So no NFL fan, no Miami Dolphins fan should let their blood pressure rise over a dopey mock draft, because in round 3, they got the Dolphins taking an edge rusher from dumb fuck state. Everyone knows he's got short arms, and he ain't going to go in round 3. He's going to go in round 5. Stupid mock draft, and you're an idiot who sucks at life because that's your mock draft. Folks, relax. Take them for what they are. Fun. Something to pass time between now and the draft. So if you see so-and-so's mock draft 4.0, and he's got the Dolphins taking Jordan Tyson from Arizona State at pick 11, calm down. Don't go losing your mind. Don't act like someone just ran over a little cat in the street and then that car ran over it again and he's the worst person in the world. Take some free advice. The next time you let a mock draft work you up, go outside, have a gummy, touch some grass, maybe smoke some grass. I don't know. And just relax. And remember, I tried to tell y'all, don't get worked up over any mock draft ever.
Well done, Michael Leva, man.
Yeah, don't text Mike about it. Don't email him about it.
Don't go email me because Matt Miller put out a mock draft you don't like. Look, it's my fault. I don't work for ESPN.
I'm feeling inspired to do a mock draft and just
Go for it.
spend
Have a
all
blast.
of Miami's picks on punters and kickers, and then I'm gonna link it to you, Mike.
Look at
And
the
holders,
Dolphins
and
talk.
holders. Gotta get some holders in there. But they're usually the punters. Big Seth, what you got for us? I know Duke can't hear you, but we're
The
gonna.
problem with going last is when someone brings it like that. You know, then it's like if I don't think I've got it, then I don't know. But here's the deal. I tried to tell y'all that while today might be April Fool's Day, the Miami Dolphins are no laughing matter. Now, I fully recognize that the franchise that we hold near and dear to our hearts has been a laughing stock for multiple decades, but damn it, it's just not funny anymore. As Dupe had enough, he's out. Dupe's like,
He couldn't hear you. He couldn't hear you, so he
around for this.
couldn't hear you, so he did.
That is pretty funny. But the Dolphins are no laughing matter, okay? So it's just not funny anymore. From missing the playoffs with the league's leading rusher and pass rusher on the same team, to Dave Onstad telling us that punting ain't a bad thing. You know what I mean? To the most prolific rusher in team history, quitting the day before training camp, and then being found in a tent in Australia, to Nick Saban choosing a bad knee over a bad shoulder, to Joe Bailey hiring himself, but not hiring Mike Tomlin because he was too hip-hop, to Cam Cameron failing forward fast, while turning his thumbs this way, guys, and then giving Dom Capers and Mike Mularkey head coaching reps in the preseason in case he ever had to miss a game when he never coached a game as a head coach in the National Football League. Dom Capers have been in championship games. To Mad Dog screaming, "I love Rich Camarillo," as the unstoppable combination of Cleo Lemon and Greg Camarillo did the exact opposite of what the one-storied franchise did to the 1985 Bears, to Jeff Ireland asking Des Bryant if his mother was a prostitute, to the Tuna drafting Pat White and then blaming all his friends for it, then not traveling to frickin' road games. What? I'm sorry, I don't have my hearing aids in. I can't hear what you're saying. To Joe Bailey feeling queasy unless Donna Ponte handed him, index cards so he could rally the team after games. To Adam Gase sitting alone by himself on the bench in the middle of a damn game while it was going on. To Brian Flores starting Jacoby Brissett over Tua because Tua's pinky was hurt from golfing. To our draft picks sailing away on a boat with Tom Brady this way and Sean Payton going that way, to a 4-year stand-up comedy routine that we just weathered. We have had more than our fair share of jokes played on us, Miami Dolphins fans, over the years. And I don't know about you guys, but I ain't falling for them anymore. And hopefully I won't have to. Because if nothing else, Jon-Eric Sullivan means business. That dude is serious when he shows up to work. The only joke that he's told since he got to Miami was the fact that he shaved his head so he wouldn't be confused with head coach Jeff Hafley anymore. And I don't think he was really joking. I think it's actually the truth. But his no-nonsense approach has been refreshing. Does it guarantee wins? No. Just like a coach spitting in the face of a player when he's yelling and screaming on the sidelines doesn't mean he's a good coach. It doesn't guarantee us anything, but it tells me that he takes his job seriously. This is not a joke. I'm hoping that the Miami Dolphins are no longer a joke because it's just not funny anymore. It's April Fool's Day, guys, but the Dolphins are not the joke. I tried to tell y'all.
That's awesome, Seth. You brought it. That's great.
Nice,
well,
I
you definitely
Very
should
nice.
have been.
Yeah, it was good, boys.
Hitter.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Seth and I, everybody,
no one's laughing about this anymore. No one's laughing about the losing.
Yeah, from Mike's, mock drafts. We don't know what the hell we don't know anything as fans. We don't know a damn thing, and we can say whatever we need. And for Seth, I think this team is. You're right, Big Seth. These guys are no joke anymore, man. We're not. We're trying to get beyond the laughing stock of the league in terms of press conferences and picks, all that other shit that we go through, bro. And I'm with you on that, man. That was brilliant right there, man. And I'm pumped because I'm a serious dude when it comes to my Dolphins, man. I'm serious, man. It's serious, extent.
But you're positive, though. You're definitely positive.
Positively serious, optimistic. And miracles do happen.
Oh, you're right here. Jon-Eric Sullivan, right after he got the Dolphin job. It's 4 seconds.
How would you describe your football philosophy briefly?
Win.
There we go.
Let's go.
That's it.
Let's go.
Right, Mike.
There's a bit of a shit talker in there, and I like it, but he's kind of listen, I'm excited to see what year 2 and year 3. I am blown away. I really am all in on Jon-Eric Sullivan. I'm not in on Hafley. I just we've seen so much that I need to see more, and I need to see the results.
Yeah,
but
we won't see Haff until games start. We see Jon-Eric Sullivan now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most of what he's doing is what we'll see now. And that's how GMs are. They work this time of year. When September hits, we'll see what Haff is about. So, and I know they work hand in hand, and I love the fact that they talked about alignment this last week, which we've heard that before. But when you got dudes that really actually know each other, that alignment is real. Like Seth and I have an alignment that we talk about, because we've known each other for so long, and these guys have an alignment that they've had for a couple of years now that it's real. Whereas when McDaniel came in with Chris Greer, there couldn't have been any alignment. They had to find an alignment. These guys have it naturally because they've known each other for a while. And I love how real they are, Big Seth and Mike and Savak, about how, look, we weren't, we didn't hang out. We didn't go to each other's houses. We didn't do anything like that. But we knew each other, and we respected each other's business and how we handled our business. And that's how they're aligned now. And I expect them to be aligned for a long time now. I love that.
I hope so. Because we've seen.
Real quick. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say we've seen what we thought was an alignment, and then when things start going south, people start doing this deal.
Well, I'm saying, like, that's what I was saying though. How could they be aligned when they don't really know each other? Like, what I mean? Like I said, you call me, and everybody. Seth calls me about 7:30 every morning. Every single morning, Seth's like, I'm like, let me wake my ass up. I try to wait till 8. I try to sleep in until 8. No, he usually hits around 8. 8:01 and some change. It's probably about
8:01.
That's it. 8:01 and some change. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. But that's how that's the alignment you're talking about, bro. And I think that these guys are if they didn't have before, they're definitely on that path to be in alignment with whatever's going on. And I think that all of us can agree that what we've heard and seen so far, we're all in agreement with and what they're doing with this organization right now.
Yeah, and with Jon-Eric Sullivan, who he is replacing, let's just be honest, the bar is pretty freaking low. Like, he doesn't have to do much to surpass the last guy. 7 picks in the top 94. No fan should think he's going to hit on all 7. It'd be great if he did, but no general manager hits on that many picks. If he hits on 4 or 5,
right?
Damn, that's great. Like, that's a great percentage.
That's amazing. That's
an amazing percentage. So with 7 picks in the top 100, if he hits on 4 or 5, don't focus on the 1 or 2 that he missed on. Focus on the fact that he hit on that many, because the last guy couldn't come close to doing that. And with Hafley, again, we don't know what Hafley is till September. But here's the thing. It seems like he's got the right temperament to go through a possible rough season this year. Seems like he's someone who's not going to get too high, too low, that if it does go bad, he'll be able to survive. And it seems like he's not someone who's going to be sitting there telling jokes, or someone's going to be like screaming and yelling at people, just mad that it seems like he's got a good temperament. And the thing we're going to see with him this year more than anything, don't do dumb shit. 3rd and 1, just run the ball. Don't, in the red zone, don't throw a fade pass to a 5'9" wide receiver. Like, don't do dumb shit. Just, don't waste all your time out to win a challenge here or there. So, like, if he can just do competent things, even if they only win 4 or 5 games or whatever, however many games, like, okay, we all knew this roster was very young this year. They had a lot of money on the cap that they couldn't use, all the dead money. Like, just don't do dumb shit and have a good temperament to sort of survive this year. Then next year, hopefully the roster's better and you can sort of take off and run in then. But that's what I think what most fans sort of want to see from him this year, and we'll find out in September. But I think he does. I think he's probably the right guy for right now, and we'll see if he's the right guy long term. We'll see. I don't know.
Don't do dumb shit. Mike tried to tell us.
It's pretty simple. Yeah,
I agree.
Ding, ding.
I hope you're right. I don't know with Hafley. I'm trying.
That's the thing. I don't know.
I'm just trying not to buy into. I don't know. He presents very well. There's no doubt that he presents very well. And particularly towards the end there with Mike McDaniel, he just it struggled to feel coherent even. So, but we got to see what happens. He's got to get a team together, and we see what happens, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll all be watching. We're gluttons for punishment one way or another. So we'll all be here. We'll be watching. We'll be talking about it. Speaking of watching, there's been a lot going on with us. So Fin Condition is rocking and rolling this week. We've had 2 episodes out. We have the Marco Coleman 1992 Pro Line Portraits. We got today. We just dropped the Larry Little rookie card.
Larry
Of
Little.
1972. So not only was it the perfect season, 1972 happened to be Larry Little's rookie card. And yes, I know that he wasn't drafted in 71 or 72, but you can listen to the episode and understand what happened there. And then on Friday, I think, Savak, are we dropping? Savak went into his own collection, dug out cards from the closet, and he's got a Troy Stradford rookie card. So that's on Friday.
From Boston College.
Yeah.
Strad.
1988 Topps Troy Stradford rookie card, a super rookie, not to be confused with a star rookie.
Man, that's bullshit. Ding. Anyhow.
Speaking of super, how about Super Duper just hanging out like, this guy's talking? I'm out of here.
I got no time for that.
I'm not going to sit here and watch this guy's lips move.
We might have only a 4 mic.
I got one plug too. One plug.
Yeah.
Tomorrow on our network, we have a special guest with Marissa Marino is going to be interviewing. Now, don't laugh after what I just said. Matt Miller of ESPN.
Is he coming with security? Is Stu Weinstein going to be there?
I didn't have any problem with his draft. I actually thought it was like okay, but I'm sure I'm going to get an email from somebody screaming, blaming me about it.
Too good.
God. All right, guys.
Well, I look forward to hearing it. You can catch that right here on Dolphins Talk, and more Fish Tank and Fin Condition coming up. Juice, get us out.
Yeah. As our man David Fernandez says, man, happy Passover and happy Easter, everybody, and thanks for diving in.